Hi, welcome back to our channel, Fulfill
The Game of Life.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Richard, and we're here to bring you what we think are practical problems. We're going to start a series kind of on transitioning from the U.S. to Portugal and the lessons we've learned, so hopefully your transition is a bit smoother.
Right, so you're not like, whoops. We are. We should have thought about that before we left.
Yep, so number one for us, no doubt, the biggest oversight for us is the phones.
And not having a SIM card before we left. Not sure if we could have done that before we left, but solving our ability to make international calls.
Yeah, so let us start with the story. But before we get started, give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and starting with our story. When we first landed, of course, we first quickly realized, hey, we didn't turn on our international calls for our current U.S. cell phone providers. You know, as soon as we realized that we didn't have cell phone service, you know, we didn't panic. We went ahead and we got checked in, and honestly, we used internet access and internet apps to communicate with family on the very first day that we were here.
Which I used WhatsApp and Facebook. Really.
Which works for both texting and the video.
Phone calls, right.
So that turned out fine. That covered us, right? But of course, we quickly realized, hey, wait a minute, you know, we don't have cell phones. So we started off on Monday morning, 2 days later, and we said, that's our first mission. We're going to go solve our cell phones.
So we walked down to a local store. It's a cell phone store, and we purchased SIM cards
at 10 euros each, right? Which is, you know, pretty positive. We plug them in the phones, and then we got different results.
Right. So my phone was already unlocked because I had a pay-as-you-go phone with Verizon. But for Richard, that was a bit more of a challenge because he had a contract with Metro PCS, which did not allow for the SIM card to work because the phone was locked.
Yep, so Christy plugged it in, inserted the card, rebooted the phone, done. You have access. I plugged it in, you couldn't get access, so had to solve that. So we headed ourselves back to our flat. We get kind of logged in, and I start searching how do you make international phone calls for free over Wi-Fi, and came across the website called PopTox, POPTOX.com, and this is a fantastic service, and it's completely free.
However, there are two, I don't know if they're issues, but limitations. So you can only make a phone call for 15 minutes each, and there is a limit to the daily phone calls that you can make off of that app.
And how do we know that?
Because I made several calls trying to get a hold of my parents, and the call wouldn't go through. So the last time I tried to call might have been the 7th or 8th time, I don't know, but it said you've reached your limit. So that's how we found that out.
There we go. Learning by experience, right? No better way.
Yes.
So anyway, I get Metro PCS on the phone. I explained that you know, I have an account in the U.S. I just moved to Portugal. They unlocked the phone. I slipped in the SIM card, and lo and behold, we both had our new Portuguese phone numbers.
And you would think that things would have been smooth sailing after that.
You'd be wrong.
Right. So, what happened?
Well, so we could call each other,
Right.
both of our phones sitting here, but the moment that Christy tried to call SEF,
right, which is immigration here in Portugal, the message was in Portuguese, so I had no idea what it was saying, but that my call wasn't going to go through. And
so funny little chapter to this.
Right.
We can't figure out what it's saying, so we say, let's go down to the cell phone store.
And the guy that was helping us, I replayed the message for him, and he basically said, I don't speak Portuguese.
So the cell phone guy maybe knew just enough Portuguese to trick us into thinking
Right.
that he could speak it, but he couldn't
translate it, really.
Yeah, he heard it, and he said, I think this is what it's saying. So we're like, okay, so we actually walked
walked down to Seth. And the agent there, I replayed it for her, and she said, you don't have enough money on your phone. So that was news to me, because I thought, you know, getting the SIM card, you could actually call a local number here in Portugal. that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, so we've not quite figured it out, frankly. We can still call each other.
Right.
So I don't know if it's an in-network thing, that it's a free call, but whatever it was with Ceph, we don't have solved completely yet. And when we figure it out, we'll update you guys so we figure out.
Right, but I did actually put money on the card so that I could make a local phone call, but it does still charge you.
Yeah, so learning experience,
Right.
we'll let you know as we get a little smarter. You would think that would be the end of the story. We had working phones, we got a little money on them. That is not the end of the story.
No.
The end of the story begins with, this is our biggest oversight so far with moving to Portugal.
Which is our accounts. A lot of our really important accounts have like a two-step authentication that goes to your US phone number, which we no longer had connected. And so we're still working through some of those issues to update our phone numbers to our international.
Yeah, so like your bank accounts, your stock accounts, or your crypto accounts, or honestly, even Amazon or anything like that. When you go to log in and it detects that you're in a new country, it almost exclusively says, hey, you're going to need the two-factor authentication. This may not be, Richard and Christy trying to log in.
Which, on one side, you're thankful.
Yes.
That it detects that you're calling or trying to log on from another country. So that part is good, but it's not when you didn't think about it before you leave the U.S.
Yeah. So lesson learned. What we're trying to do to resolve the issues is we go down each important account. We get on Pop Talks after the United States opens up, and we have to get people on the phone. We have to authenticate our identification on the phone, and then they're willing to change the phone number so we can finally get text and solve the problem. But this is going to be a slow process that honestly I believe will take us 2 or 3 months to get our major accounts.
Right.
Because it's just
shorter.
a slow thing. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So don't make the same mistake. Plan the cell phone service and understand the impacts on the authentication. And that's it for this video.
Right. If you like this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss new content.
And we'll be back with you pretty soon with more kind of practical problems that we ran into between the transition from the United States to Portugal. So have a great day.